What's going on, everyone? I'm Gilflo.
I'm Lord Speech.
And today we are reviewing BattleTanx, game number 28 of 296 on the N64 Chronicles. Alright, let's get into this. So, this is a 3DO game. You guys may know 3DO from the failed system. You may also know 3DO from probably the more prevalent game, Army Men.
Oh, well, yeah, especially Sarge's Heroes. That was like that and the air combat ones.
Yep. So, let's talk about this game. The most important thing about this game, right, is the story.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you my synopsis that I took away from the introduction. Females are taken away. Men revolt. War, extinction.
Well, you did forget the part that virus kills females. Females reserved.
Oh, I know, but just that takeaway.
Oh, like, yeah, exactly.
Like, so a virus sweeps the nation, but it only affects females, right?
Yeah.
And they start dying off, and, you know, the men population go crazy, and the government tries to take and save humanity, and everyone has tanks.
Yeah.
That's it. Everyone has
which
tanks.
is like, to be fair, it's like, I don't know if this was an American developer, but seriously, tanks as your regular weapon, that is American as fuck.
Oh yeah,
that is American
This
as fuck.
game is
to me,
totally
yeah. It's like when you look at the story, it's like, holy shit, this story is on an N64. Like you expect this, and I'm pretty sure BattleTanx might have been on PlayStation. I'm sure, but it's like that's the one you would expect on.
Yeah.
And it's like to me, it's like the story just kind of reminds me of like the Heavy Metal magazine with like its more adult storylines and stuff like that.
So, your main character's Griff. He lost the love of his life. She's been taken away, and he's basically traveling across the country, building an army to go and save her.
But first, he had to survive a nuke to the face.
Oh, yeah, he did take a nuke to the face. But he clearly looks away from explosions.
Exactly.
That's his level of badassery. Overall, I think the controls feel pretty good in this game.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely smooth and everything.
Game defaults to easy. I'm gonna go ahead and say your first playthrough is probably a good idea.
Yeah, it's basically you have to keep mobile like any heavy weapon type system.
Yep.
And it's just you can easily get stuck and just obliterated if you just take it too slow.
Yeah. So the game and the first part of the game actually feels pretty good. Difficulty curves right there, and you hit the first boss level, and that's when it ramps up and things are just shooting you everywhere.
Yeah.
It definitely takes some time. We didn't take a lot of time to play through this game, but you need some practice to get good at it.
But even then, it's like it still seemed fair enough. Where it's like okay, you might have that first like boss difficulty, but even then, it was like more or less. It's like okay, you're trying to take away that big Goliath tank, which when you actually pay attention, it's like oh, they're stuck on a train rail essentially.
Yeah. Yep. So we hit a point. Normally when we hit a point where we don't want to continue pushing ourselves with the game, we want to move on and just check out the rest of the game. We put in with cheats, and I thought at first it was best played with cheats.
Yeah.
Until I realized after you beat the first level, it breaks the game.
Because all of a sudden you get to the bonus round, and then the bonus round was not designed to end eventually. It was designed endurance. It was a pure endurance, and it's like, oh wait, I have invincibility. I could also literally crash this game if it happens to have a memory sink, so to speak.
Yep.
Which to me, I don't think this game was necessarily made with cheats in mind. Like some games, they're made with cheats in mind, like Turok.
Yeah.
The South Park video game.
Yep.
It helps add to the experience.
Absolutely.
GoldenEye also adds to the experience.
Yep.
This one was just more or less like, hey, it's there if you want to, but it just sucks with invincibility. It's like it's that little trap.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to be invincible, but it's like, hey, if you get the unlimited ammo and everything like that, that would probably ease you in a little bit more.
Yeah. My favorite weapon in the game is Nuke Deploy.
Oh, yes.
It pretty much is a map clearer, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last thing I think we need to talk about is multiplayer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave this up to you.
And the multiplayer, in my opinion, it's like it had a couple different modes we played, which it looks like some have like actual bot tanks that you're with, everything, but it is literally just fucking tank on tank action, awesome, classic, and then. Yeah. Basically, based on the modes we're playing, where it's like it lets you select whatever faction, like so that's your slight style of tank. Which I think the sequel game actually expands to the tank classes.
Gotcha.
Like I know this one has at least a couple different classes.
Yep.
But go with the nuclear guys because they have nukes right off the bat.
Right off the bat, yeah. The other thing is, we played with 2-player. We didn't play with 4. I think 4-player would be
that would be the way to go with it.
Yep. One of the modes is where you have to go into your enemy's base and steal their queen.
Yeah.
And that's how you win.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a pretty solid game.
Yeah.
You got anything else to talk about before we go to ratings?
Well, if I mean anything with the extra weapons and everything in this game, most of them are practical and usable. It's like the thing is, it's like I like the phaser, aka the laser weapon.
Yeah.
But I just like it because it does sound like a phaser from Star Trek. But really, the nuke is the best one. It's like it's not as varied as it could have been if they really got into it. But it's functional. It's nice. Yep. Nuke deployed.
So, at the time of filming this game is $17. If you want a tank game for the Nintendo 64, I'm going to say that's the right price point for it.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's get to the ratings. So, 50 is our line. Everything above 50 is on the good side. Everything below 50 is on the bad side. So, if you see a game with a 50 rating, 51 rating or above, that does not mean it's a bad game. It just means it's not as high as some of the better games. Yeah. If you see something below 50, the further down it goes, the more you should avoid that game. And if you own that game, you should probably burn it with fire, a.k.a. the one at number 1, Superman 64.
Foreshadowing.
Because we're eventually going to review that game, and Spleech is going to play it, because I suffered enough already with that game.
Oh, yeah,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
In due time. So let's get to how we rated this game. So I gave the game a 73. You gave it a 71 for nostalgia. I think this falls into that good game category. Yeah. For some people, this is going to be in the rental category. Yeah. So it's going to teeter right between that 70 and 60 range.
And for me, my nostalgia definitely goes towards the multiplayer aspect of the game. Because I do remember at a friend's house actually playing a little bit for the multiplayer.
Gotcha. And this story for this time period was so ridiculous.
And like I said, it kind of reminds me of the Heavy Metal magazine, just like with the adult themes. Like, basically, if this storyline was in Heavy Metal, which I'm sure a story like it was in the Heavy Metal magazine, you just basically, it's the same story, also with porn, essentially. So,
yep. All right, so let's get into how we rated it now and our overall score. So I dropped mine to a 70. I cannot drop this to a 60 personally. I didn't have the greatest fun playing it, but I can see the potential there.
Oh yeah, me, I did drop into that rental okay category. Just basically, it's like, it's a fun multiplayer game, but the single player, it's like, unless you do want to dedicate to it, and cheats wise, we have found a way. It's not as clear to see the cutscene scroll and everything, but at the same time, it's just like, the story's interesting enough for what it is, but
So that puts our overall rating right at 70. It's right on that border between an okay game and a rental or a good game. What I will say is someone needs to buy the rights to this story and make this a modern game.
I will say
I would play this as a modern
game. I will
game.
say just based on the story that we think, it's like obviously we just like skip through it when we use the cheats to see it.
Yep.
And it's basically, the thing is, it's like after you won, you basically, and spoiler alert, you basically take America, essentially.
Yep, you become the ruler of America.
Yeah. The sequel to this game is called Global Assault.
Oh, I know. We'll get to that.
So I wonder how the story is in that one.
In due time. So if you like this video and you want to see more Nintendo 64 reviews, please hit that subscribe button.
Like the video?
And then leave us a comment. We'll reply to you within a week or so. We're not that great at that. But anyway, we'll catch you next time.